Well, hello and welcome back to yet another incredible video. And today, this is part of my monthly collaboration that I do with Joy from Joyful Designs, where we turn trash into treasure. And this time around, we are supposed to be featuring jute. And I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know right now that 2 of these DIYs in this video turned out exactly like I wanted. And one, yeah. So let's get into it. So for this one, I'm going to be using one of those plastic orange juice bottles, you know, the ones with the green cap. And at the top, before it kind of bottlenecks, if you will, it has like a little scalloped edge. And I wanted to try to preserve that. So I come through and try to cut off the top piece with my scalpel, still kind of trying to preserve that scalloped edge. So now I'm going to use a technique that I've been using for years, and this is basically I'm just going to mix some apple barrel white paint, some baking soda, and some water together until I get kind of a texture that I'm looking for, and I'm going for a little like stucco, if that makes sense. And once I have that, I will go down and lay a coat on top of my plastic bottle, which is now going to be a vase. And I ultimately laid down 3 coats, I believe, to get it to where it was that I wanted it to go, but you will just see me lay down 1. All of the DIYs that we are doing today are supposed to incorporate, yes, some sort of trash, but also jute. I'm not a fan of jute, but Joy is a fan of jute. And when you love somebody, you do what you have to do. But in this one, I'm going to use jute in a non-conventional way. I needed some sort of filler for my vase, especially because this plastic is so light. So I took a couple of jute ropes and put them down on the bottom of the vase. And I thought this was genius because the loops of the jute kind of allow me spaces to be able to stick my florals down into. And I'm going to give this the best shot that I've got to try to perform an arrangement. Now, I am not the best arranger in the world. If you want to see the best arranger in the world, make sure you check out Melinda from Ivy Doll. So I think this vase actually turned out very cute. Never mind my arrangement, okay? I did what, like I said, I could do. But in terms of turning that plastic bottle into something that you could actually use in your home that people would just think was a really cool vase, I think I did that. But you guys let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. So for this next DIY, I'm going to be using one of these green bottles, and I think it held like mineral water, you know, or some sort of sparkling water product. I'm showing you guys 3 here, but ultimately I just wind up using 1. And I go ahead and get that label off and get her cleaned up, and then you will see me start to add my jute. And I start at the top, and I just work my way down the bottle. And I think in the end, this wound up taking me about, I think it was a rope and a half, perhaps, or the better part of 2 ropes to get done. So the next thing I do is I take a little bit of white paint on a sponge and just kind of give some hits to that jute so it's not so jutey, if that makes sense. And that's because I have a relationship with jute, and so I was just trying to give it a little something extra, if that makes sense. So I have a scrap piece of wood here. I think it's about 2 inches wide, I want to say, but it is a foot long. And I go ahead and just hit this with some Waverly Antique Wax. So now that everything's dry, I can go ahead and start putting my piece together. So I grabbed 2 of those kind of ceramic vases, pots, I don't know what they were, from the Dollar Tree. And I made sure that they were the same design, but you could certainly switch that up. And my bottle. And I go ahead and glue my bottle down onto my stained piece of wood. And then I glue one of those ceramic dealers on either side of my bottle. Okay, I think this one is my favorite of the day that you will see, and I love the simplicity of it, and I like how you could just switch those florals out, right? The piece itself is very neutral, so you could switch the florals out for something seasonal or just put stuff in there like I did where you could leave it all year long. But let me know at the end of the video which one of these you guys feel is your favorite. So in case you guys didn't know this, Joy loves jute. She is using jute in a lot of her pieces and they come out beautiful. So make sure when you finish up here, you head on over to Joy's channel and see what she made. Okay, so this next DIY starts off easy enough, right? I am basically using, if you've ever bought one of those cube systems, they come with backs on some of them, if that makes sense. It's kind of a thick cardboard board of some sort. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and take one of those kind of freehand and ovular shape and then I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. So next I grabbed some of that wallpaper that Dollar Tree has, and this is from the old collection. And I cut down a little piece and then I get kind of fancy, but not too fancy, and I just do a little cutout, you know, almost like you were making a snowflake, but in this case I'm trying to make a geometric pattern. So I go ahead and lay my piece down on my board and then I begin to pull my basket together. And if you've been with me for a while, you've probably seen me do this before, but I go ahead and put my rope or whatever it is on the outside of my form piece and then I start to stack rope on top. And you will watch as this comes together. If you have any questions, as usual, just make sure to let me know in the comments. Next thing you will see me do is basically start to put down the Mod Podge kind of protection that I like to do on all my baskets. It just makes them nice and stiff and I feel like it kind of protects them. And that combination is like a Mod Podge, water, and sometimes I put a little Waverly in it just to give it a little tint. Okay, so I let this dry, right? My little Mod Podge mixture. And then I take a look at it and I'm like, I'm not really feeling this. I'm not feeling this piece, you guys. I'm not feeling it. So I'm like, okay, let me try to save this, right? Let me try to resuscitate this basket. So I go ahead and take it outside, which you will not see the footage of that. And I attempt to spray paint the outside this kind of sand dollar color, if you will. And you will see what that looks like because I'm going to bring it back inside and you're going to see me attempt to try to raise that wallpaper cutout that we made up off the bottom to reveal what I hope is this beautiful pattern. That is not what happened. As you guys can see, it fragmented, and I think it was because I didn't pull that up before the spray paint had fully dried, if that makes sense. But we move. I'm not gonna let this piece go. I'm not. I've already put in too much time. I'm not gonna let it go. So I grabbed myself another piece of that wallpaper. I cut that down to the size of the inside of the basket, and I lay that down, okay? And then I hit it with a little bit of white paint just so that it doesn't have that super shiny effect on it. And that's it, okay? That's what we did. We did what we had to do. We moved past it. And honestly, in the reveal, I think it still looks really good, but you guys let me know. So as you guys saw, this one was a struggle. I was on the struggle bus. I was taking up all the seats, okay, on the struggle bus. But I actually think it looked all right. I don't know. But again, you guys let me know in the comments what you think. Well, as always, I thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, we invite you to come back, hang out, and be okay with us.